Do you ever anticipate that you're going to stutter or that you're going to block on certain words or letters? Some people anticipate that they're going to get stuck on saying their name, on introducing themselves. Some people anticipate that they're going to stutter or block on certain words or certain letters or vowel sounds or consonants. Does that ever happen to you? Do you ever completely avoid those words, rearrange, substitute words because, uh-oh, here comes that word, I need to say something, I need to change that word out and use another word. So it ends up dumbing down the sentence, right? It's not really what you want to say because you have to use some other words. Does that ever happen to you? If so, I understand what you're going through and I want you to watch this video. My name is Michael Williams, your smooth speech and presentation specialist. And in this video, I'm going to share with you some very specific steps and solutions to help you to be able to say what you want to say, when you want to say it, the way you want to say it, to help you to be able to speak with ease, to speak effortlessly, to speak enjoyably, right? So that you actually enjoy speaking. I have clients who are telling me now that they enjoy speaking. Imagine that. People who used to dread and avoid speaking are now enjoying speaking in less than 90 days. So I'm going to be sharing with you some very specific steps that you can take to get to the place where you are no longer thinking about speaking. The same way that you walk, you'll be able to speak. I want you to think about that. When you walk, do you think about the fact that you're walking? Do you think about how you're walking? Do you think about the mechanics of walking? Or do you just get up and walk? Like if you wanted to go from wherever you are to another room, what do? What's the process? You just set an intention, you have a desire to go to the other room. Like if I wanted to go to the bathroom, I have to go to the bathroom, and my body does the rest, right? Just picks me up, takes me on into the bathroom, right? And I bet it's probably the same with you. You probably don't think about how you're walking. Well, wouldn't it be awesome if you could speak the same way? You have a thought, you have a message, you have an idea, something that you want to communicate, a question that you want to ask, and you just effortlessly do it without thinking about the mechanics of speaking, without thinking about the fact that you're speaking at all. So the question is, how can you get from where you are now, that is struggling with your speech, stammering, stuttering, blocking, avoiding, feeling bad, feeling frustrated, how can you get from where you are now to the place where you are enjoying speaking and you're just freely saying what you want to say? That's what I'm going to give you in this video. So there's some things that we have to understand. We have to establish a foundation here for the rest of this training. And the foundation is this. Number one, speaking is in fact a behavior. It is something that we do, okay? And as we talked about, when we anticipate that we're going to get stuck and we start becoming anxious, we start feeling anxious and nervous, this is a way of thinking and feeling, right? So when we anticipate or when we become anxious, this is a way of thinking. When we stutter, this is a disfluent way of speaking, right? Isn't that true? So I think we have to agree that stuttering and stammering and blocking is a disfluent way of speaking. That when we anticipate and we become anxious, that this is a certain way of thinking. Now, that's both bad news and good news, but it's mostly good news. And the reason it's good news is because these ways are also patterns. They are habit patterns. Right? They're things that you probably do automatically. You don't sit down and think, how can I stutter? Right? You don't sit down and think, how can I become more anxious? I just want to become more anxious, right? No, you don't think. It just kind of happens automatically. It started happening at some point and just happens automatically. So we have certain habitual patterns or habit patterns, ways of thinking, and we have certain habit patterns, ways of speaking. Well, guess what? Habits, habit patterns can be changed or replaced with new ones. This science is very, very important for you to understand because it will give you, now listen, it will give you the confidence that you need to take the steps that you must take to improve your speech and improve your life. All right? The science is the foundation. It gives you the faith and the belief that you need. So we understand that we can change or replace our patterns of thinking. We understand that we can change or replace our patterns of speaking. They can be changed or replaced. Okay? That's important. So then, if we know that we can change or replace our ways of thinking, our patterns of thinking, and we can change or replace our patterns of speaking, the only question is, what are the new patterns of thinking that I want to replace the old ones with? What are the new patterns of speaking that I want to replace the old ones with? What are they, right? So these are our thinking and speaking objectives, our goals. What are they? Because once we know what they are, then our next step is to do what? Is to repeatedly and consistently act on those, right? To repeat these patterns consistently. So repeat these thinking patterns consistently. Repeat these speaking patterns consistently. So this is the way we form new habits, by repeating something consistently. Does this make sense? All right? So we need to know what they are. So let's talk about that then. What are these new ways, these new patterns of thinking that we want to achieve? What are the new ways of thinking that we want to have, that we want to use in our daily life? What are they? Because once we know what they are, we just have to do what? Repeat them consistently. Okay? Are you following? So let's talk about what they are. Well, we want patterns of thinking that promote calmness, that promote being relaxed, that promote confidence. I can do this, right? That promote clarity, right? Clear thinking, structured thinking. Okay, this, and this. We want patterns of thinking that promote us being more calm, relaxed, more focused, more confident, patterns of thinking that allow us to speak with a greater authority, right? So we're talking about our speech now. So we want patterns of thinking that promote that, okay? And then and now that we know what these patterns of thinking are, right, the thoughts that we need to think that will help us think in this way, once we know what they are, all we need to do then is to repeat them consistently, repeat them every day. Thoughts that promote calmness and clarity and confidence, right? We want to repeat them every day, okay? Now, what are the speaking patterns that we need to repeat consistently every day? Now, I want you to listen to this. I'm going to give you around 7, and I call them skills because they're learnable. They're learnable. And these skills are very important, and I'm going to tell you why they're important, because it has something to do with the fact that it has nothing to do with stuttering, but it has something to do with excellent speech, which is a bonus of this entire process. So what are the skills, the 7 skills or patterns of speech that we want to learn, that we want to repeat consistently? What are they? Well, one has to do with maintaining airflow, right? So many of you probably have just confirmed that you run out of air. Sometimes you forget to breathe. Sometimes you block. Your air just cuts off, right? So we want just smooth airflow. We want nice airflow. We want to make sure that we're breathing. We're getting oxygen into our brain so we can think clearly, so we can feel relaxed. So airflow. The next one is just this learning to speak in a way that's relaxed. That's relaxed, right? You don't want to be around someone that's just, right, 1,000 miles a minute. Someone that's relaxed. We're not talking about boring. We're not talking about super slow. We're just talking about relaxed. So two of the skills, these are skills that you can learn. Speaking with smooth airflow. Speaking in a way that's relaxed. It's another one. Extending and blending for smoothness, right? You want smooth speech, so you extend and blend your words. These are all skills that you can learn, right? Extending and blending. Inflecting for energy and enthusiasm. You want to speak with energy and enthusiasm. You also want to be able to emphasize certain words, emphasize for engagement. You want to emphasize certain things for engagement. You want to be able to articulate for clarity so people understand what you're saying. Articulate for clarity. And finally, number 7, you want to be able to use your body for impact, right? Impact and engagement as well. You want to be able to use your body also to animate your speech, animate yourself, right? So you want to use your body to impact, to engage, and for animation, to animate your speech. 7 speaking skills. I know I just held up 6 then. 7, Michael Williams can't count. 7 speaking skills. So let's go back over those again. These are all skills that you can learn, and I'll tell you something just incredibly beautiful about these skills, okay? So airflow, right? You want to maintain airflow. You want to speak in a way that's relaxed. You want to extend and blend your words for smoothness. You want to inflect your words for energy and enthusiasm. You want to emphasize your words, right, for impact. You want to articulate, right? You want to articulate for clarity. You want to use your body for engagement and for impact and to animate your speech. So you don't want someone just standing there speaking and not moving like this, right? You're going to fall asleep and it's going to look strange. So you want that. 7 skills. Now these are skills, right? They're not tricks, they're skills. And the reason they're skills is because you can learn how to do these things. And how do you learn them? Well, we'll talk about that in just a minute. But when you learn them, one of the ways that you learn them is by what? Repeating them consistently. So, well, how do we do that? Okay, once we know how to do it, then we repeat it consistently. Okay? Now, here's what's beautiful about these skills. If you are, listen to this, because this is beautiful. If you are speaking smoothly and clearly and calmly and fluently and confidently, let's just say 95% of the time, you're speaking smoothly 95% of the time. Well, what else will you not be doing 95% of the time? What is it that you cannot be doing 95%? If you're speaking smoothly 95% of the time, you absolutely cannot be what? Stuttering 95% of the time, right? So then, look at this. The goal is to not focus on how to stop stuttering or treat stuttering or cure stuttering or get rid of stuttering. The goal is, how can I speak more smoothly and clearly and fluently and calmly and confidently? And if I can do that and I can repeat it consistently, it becomes my new pattern of speaking, my new way of speaking. And if I'm doing that 95 and 96, 97, 98% of the time, then I won't be what? Stuttering 90% or 80% or 70% of the time. Maybe I might just stutter 2% of the time. Now here's the thing. Stuttering, as we said, is a disfluent way of speaking. Everyone in the world, everyone, I can say this with full confidence, every single person in the world, even though I haven't met every person, but I can say this, every single person in the world has some disfluency, sometime. There are probably times where some people speak 100% fluent, but I can tell you they're probably not 100% fluent 100% of the time of their entire life. Right? There's going to be times when that person has some sort of disfluency, right? And some people more than others. So our goal here is not to eliminate disfluency, because we probably can't do that. Our goal is to simply increase fluency, increase smoothness and calmness and clarity and confidence. Because if we focus on increasing that, the stuttering just takes care of itself. Just let the stuttering take care of itself. Focus on this and the stuttering will take care of itself. Does that make sense? I want to drive that home. That's so important, and it's the basis of the Pro 90D Smooth Speech and Presentation System. It's the basis of it. Now, I remember saying that I was going to tell you now, how do we learn these skills? Well, there's various ways. One, we look at the skills discreetly, right? Individually, we look at these skills and we learn them. We teach you how to maintain airflow, how to speak in a relaxed manner, how to use your body, how to inflect, how to articulate, how to emphasize. We teach you this thing. But we also have a holistic way of teaching you, and it's called modeling. Now, some people may not have heard of modeling. Some people have. Some people don't like modeling. But the fact is, you model all the time, and the way you learn to speak your current language was through modeling. When you were growing up, and before you could read, you modeled your parents and your family, and that's how you learned to speak. You heard them speaking, and you repeated consistently the sounds and the way that they spoke and their mannerisms, and so you modeled. That's how you learn. That's how a lot of us learn many of the things that we currently learn. That's how some of our world experts, people who are the very best in their field, be it art, be it singing, be it poetry, be it writing, be it business, they modeled someone else who was probably better than them, someone who was their model, right? They modeled someone, and then they developed their own. So modeling is something that's, first of all, it's natural. We automatically know how to do it, and it's something that works, and it saves time. It saves time. It accelerates your journey, accelerates your process. Learning the skills is much more difficult and takes longer. Modeling is holistic. You get everything right in one bundle, and it saves time. So our program teaches you modeling. Now, so thinking patterns, right? Thinking patterns, the ones that you currently have of anticipating, avoiding, and all of that, can be replaced with new patterns of, hey, I can do this. Of, in fact, getting to the place where you're not negatively anticipating at all, where you're not even thinking about speaking. You're just ordering your coffee. You're just introducing yourself, giving your name, giving your phone number. They're going around the table and you're just saying, hey, yes, my name is Michael Williams and this is what I do and I really enjoy being, and you're not even thinking about it, right? There's an interim step. What we have to do between where you are now and getting to the place where you can just do that without thinking. And we'll talk about that in just a moment. But, so we talked about the thinking patterns, right? Things when you're anticipating and you're switching and all that. And then the speaking patterns where you're getting stuck and you're blocking and you can't say the things that you want and you're pushing out words, right? And you're just doing, or you're speaking too fast, or you're repeating yourself. Whatever the pattern is that you have now can be replaced with something new and different and smoother. Okay, can be replaced. How do we replace it? We have to know what the new patterns are. We just talked about new patterns of thinking. I want to think this way. New patterns of speaking. I want to speak this way. The skills, right? How do I do it? Well, I learn them and I consistently, or I repeat them consistently. Okay, I repeat them consistently. So, what's the interim step? The step between where you are now and where you want to be, where you're free to say what you want to say. Well, the interim step is you need a systematic process. You need a program that gives you all the components that you need so that you know what it is that you need to think repeatedly, right? What thoughts you need to repeat on a daily basis and what skills you need to repeat and learn on a daily basis. You need a system that helps, that defines what those goals are for you, thinking and speaking goals. It defines them clearly. It teaches you how to do them, and then it gives you a way to do them consistently and then supports you so that you can repeat them consistently over a long enough period of time for them to become habit. Now, what is this program and what's this period of time? Well, what I see from my own experience over the last several years of working with people, many of whom are doctors and scientists, and they support the process, and the science supports this process, is within 90 days, I have seen people dramatically and drastically transform their speech. That means there are things that they wouldn't do because of their confidence or couldn't do because of their speech, they can do now. Their speech is not perfect, my speech is not perfect, but they are doing things that they wouldn't or couldn't do inside of 90 days, right? So someone says, well, there's a program out there that says that they can do that in 3 days or in 3 weeks. So here's what I want to say about that. I'm not going to down anyone's program. I'm not going to say that it doesn't work. But here's what I will say about that. Yes, you can learn new skills inside of 3 days. You can learn a new way of speaking inside of 3 days. And you can actually temporarily change your speech inside of 3 days or 3 weeks or a weekend, right? You can actually see a person transform their speech, go from stuttering and stammering to smoother speech inside that period of time. But here's what the science doesn't support. The science doesn't support that change will last long term unless that person does what? Repeat whatever it is that they learned consistently over time, right? Then yes, then it can last over time. The problem is if you get into a program for 3 days and then you're out, or you go into a program or something for 3 weeks and then you're out, you probably are not in it long enough to hold you in a container to repeat all the things you need to repeat consistently long enough. The science supports that it can take you anywhere from 3 weeks to 8.5 to 9 months to form new habits. We've already established that these thinking patterns and these speaking patterns that we currently have and the ones that we want to develop are habits, right? That they're habits, and we can create new habits. And the science says that we can create new habits anywhere from 3 weeks, 18 days, let's just say, to about 254 days, let's just call it 8.5 to 9 months, right? My own experience shows that inside of 90 days, you can dramatically and drastically change your way of thinking. Your confidence goes up. Your avoidance and anticipation drops down. Your speech gets smoother and clearer. You become more confident inside of 90 days. So this means if there are opportunities that you've been missing out on, if there's been decisions you've been making, people make decisions about their life, about their jobs, about relationships based on their speech. People limit their careers. They limit their opportunities because of their speech. If you've been living beneath your potential, and if you stammer or stutter, you are living beneath your potential. You could be extremely wealthy and extremely successful, but it's still beneath your true potential if, in fact, you haven't done something about your speech. I'm not talking about people who can't speak, right? I'm talking about people who can, but haven't taken action, haven't actually done something to change their speech long term, right? So you are losing life's best opportunities. You are living beneath your potential. And if you're tired, if you're like, I'm more intelligent than this, I have a lot more to give, I have a lot more potential and I know it, but I'm limiting myself but with my speech, right? I'm limiting myself because I'm allowing my speech to limit my potential. If this is you, then you can do something about it, right? You can do something about it. You need the system, right? You need to repeat these new patterns consistently so that you change your way of thinking, you change your way of speaking, so that you can then take advantage of these opportunities in life. Now, we talked about the Pro 90D smooth speech and presentation system earlier. I mentioned it just a little bit, right? I mentioned it. So what is the system? What is this approach? Well, this system, this approach teaches you the skills. It teaches you the new patterns of thinking. It gives you a daily routine that you follow that allows you to repeat consistently these ways of thinking, ways of speaking, allows you to repeat the consistent until it becomes a habit, until it's automatic, until you reach automaticity. So it's a system that gives you the daily routine that you need. It gives you the information and the content and the training and learning that you need. So everything is in the system, and you can do it. You can do it by yourself. But here's the problem. What can stop the average person? What usually does stop the average person from doing it on their own? Well, here it is. It's inconsistency, right? They become distracted. So inconsistency, distraction, discouragement, and confusion, right? Confusion, lack of knowledge and clarity, okay? And and lack of encouragement, right? So we said discouragement. So let's talk about those. These are the things that can prevent, the barriers that often prevent people from achieving the smoothness and the clarity and the confidence and the authority in their speech that they want, the influence, right? So inconsistency, let's talk about that. So what happens is people get distracted and they start on something, they do it, or they do part of it. They say, well, yeah, I'm going to listen to the audios and watch the videos, but I'm not going to do the modeling practice. Or they do it, oh, wow, this is too hard, or this isn't working, or I don't really understand this, so let me just listen to this, right? So therefore, they're not consistent with the complete program. So because of their lack of consistency, they don't get the results they want, or they get inconsistent results, or they get results and then they slide back. They get results and slide back. Inconsistency. What about discouragement? Well, people get discouraged. So sometimes you're going through the program, they don't see the results they want because they set up false expectations. So they get discouraged and they start throttling back. They start slowing down, or they quit, right? But we know that when you're developing new habits and learning new skills, it takes time. You see incremental growth often, right? So when you're in the program and you have support, you have a community that's supporting you, you can be more consistent and you can stay encouraged, right? Now, what about this confusion, this lack of clarity? Well, sometimes we don't know what we don't know, right? So someone can think they're doing it right, but they're not. They can think they're doing it right, but they're not. So if you have someone who can give you evaluation and feedback, they can then say, hey, this is the way to do that. Or wait a minute, don't do it this way, do it this way, or do more of this. Sometimes people think that they've slowed their speech down, and they haven't, right? Maybe they've slowed down a little, but not enough. So I say, hey, you have to slow down even more. So I thought I was. Well, now you have to slow down even more. Okay, so that's helpful for them. And then there's another piece that's also a benefit, if you will, and that is personalization and customization. Personalization and so if you can get something personalized and customized, it can help save your time. So let me tell you how you can accelerate the process of transforming your speech. Accelerate the process. Number one, accountability. You need someone to hold you accountable so you can be consistent, right? Accountability doesn't make you be consistent, but it helps you to be consistent. So accountability. The next thing is evaluation and feedback. Giving you the feedback that you need, telling you the things that maybe you don't know, clarifying some things for you. Evaluation and feedback. Encouragement. Keeping you encouraged, helping you set realistic expectations so you don't get discouraged. That's a big one. A lot of people just quit, right? And then personalization and customization. Okay, you focus on this. You focus on that. Now you focus on this right here. Personalization, customization accelerates the process. I've seen people accelerate their process by 10 times. That is, where it's taken them years. They've been just sitting around in the programs, in and out of the programs, on and off for years. They come work with me, and within 2 to 3 months, they've completely transformed their speech and their life. This is how you can accelerate the process. Now, here's the thing. Some of you will not be willing to invest in your speech. You won't be willing to invest in your speech. And so this video isn't for you, this program isn't for you. But for those of you who are watching, who are professional or professionally minded, you're about to graduate college, you're about to go into college. Maybe you're in high school. Maybe you're in your master's program. Maybe you're a professional already working. I have lots of doctors, scientists, engineers, nurses, people from all walks of life, all over the world. Some people don't even speak English on a regular basis, but they're able to understand and are able to speak enough to work with me. So people all around the world in all kinds of different industries and careers who I work with. And if you fit one of those, if you're a professional and you're tired of limiting your potential, right, limiting your life in a sense, your social life, your professional life, your career, then you are going to want to, and you're going to need to invest financially in your speech, and you're going to need to invest time in your speech. Now, the average person is going to take at least 1 or 2 vacations a year, and they're going to spend probably a couple of $1,000, couple of $1,000, right? Well, here's the thing with the speech thing. You don't have to invest a couple of times a year. You don't have to invest every year. You invest once, and if you do it right, it lasts you for the rest of your life. So think about that. you have a choice. Do you want to invest? Do you want to take maybe 1 or 2 vacations in that year and delay them, sacrifice just a little bit for 1 year or even for half a year, invest in your speech, and have this impact you for the rest of your life? Or do you want to continue struggling? Do you want to continue struggling? Some people choose to continue struggling. And part of it is because they're not sure if this works. They don't believe if it works. But there's enough evidence out there to tell you that this really does work, right? It really does work. So then it's just up to you. You got to trust someone. You have to trust something at some point. And it's up to you. I'm not going to tell you to trust me. I'm not going to tell you to trust the science and trust yourself, right? I give you enough information. I have enough strategies and things out there where you can try it out for yourself and say, hey, this really does work. So what we're talking about here then is private coaching. Private smooth speech and presentation coaching. If you want to accelerate the process, right, it gives you accountability, it gives you evaluation and feedback, it gives you encouragement, and it gives you personalization and customization. And it gives you a community. So I have a community of people who also encourage. You can watch them as they progress. You can hear them. They upload videos and audios, and they type text and say, oh, I had this success, I did this, oh, I'm now able to do this, I wasn't able to do this before, right? And you can see it, so it encourages you. You can practice with them, you can talk with them, you get a community. So I want to encourage you to watch this video again, because in fact, I have told you, believe it or not, and they say, oh, well, this is a sales video. No, I've told you exactly what you need to do to transform your speech. The first thing you need to do is first you have to understand that, hey, the way that I think, the way I've been thinking and the way I've been speaking are patterns, right? And they're physiological in nature, right? There's something going on in the neurons. They're not firing correctly in the right areas, but they're also patterns. And they're things that can be replaced with new patterns. So then the question is, what are the new patterns? Okay, once I determine what those new patterns are, those new goals, objectives, thinking and speaking objectives, then I just need to practice them, repeatedly, consistently. I need to repeat them consistently. Okay, how do I do that? Well, I need a system, I need a process, I need to know what they are, I need to learn them, and I need to repeat them consistently. And what are the possible things that can keep me from doing that? Well, I can be inconsistent, I can get distracted, I can get discouraged, maybe I'm not clear on something. Well, what can help you with that? Well, coaching can help you with that. Now, some of you won't be ready for coaching, so if you're not ready for it, or you just can't swing the money right now, then I encourage you to at least do the basic program, at least start with the basic program, and I've redesigned that recently, so at least start with that. But if you can afford it, and you want to accelerate, you're tired of just struggling, and you want to feel free. You want to speak easily, effortlessly, right? You want to speak enjoyably, right? You want to be able to say whatever you want to say, whenever you want to say it, right? And the way that you want to say it. You want to stop feeling limited, then you're going to need to take a step. You're going to need to step up to the next level, and stepping up to the next level in this situation can mean either doing the private coaching, or if you just can't do it, do the basic course. Do something, even if it's not with me. If you don't like me or whatever, do something, doggone it, right? So I want to thank you for watching this video. I know it lasted a little longer, but I wanted to give you, and remember this, the 7 skills, right? Those are 7 skills. I gave you those. Remember, I gave you the thoughts, the things that you need to think. I gave you those. Those are things, I told you exactly what you need to do. And I'm inviting you to contact me, right? To click the button in or around this video to schedule a session with me, an assessment session, so we can decide if this is the best route for you, because it might not be. So go ahead, click the button, schedule a session only if you're serious, and let's get you moving inside of 90 days, transforming your life, helping you build an asset. Remember, it's not about stuttering. It's about helping you become an excellent, superior, amazing speaker. You're building an asset that you'll have forever. Not about treating, getting rid of, reducing stuttering. You're becoming an excellent speaker. So I want to invite you to click the link Get in contact with me and let's do this. Once again, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for hanging in there. My name is Michael Williams, your smooth speech and presentation specialist, and I'll talk to you soon.